Dan, how we doing?
I hope I'm doing okay.
If you're not sure, I'm not sure.
Uh, how are you?
Well, let's talk about answering questions with questions. So this has always been a little bit of a pet peeve for me in the sense that I've been in scenarios where salespeople will never answer a question. They just keep coming back with another question. And I'm watching the prospect and it gets to the point where their head's ready to explode because they're like, I just asked a question for an answer. I don't want to play this game with you. Just answer the bloody question. But there are also times where it's really important to ask a question of a question, not because you're trying to be combative, but you're trying to make sure you understand and provide information that's in alignment. Somebody asks a big, wide open question, can go in so many directions. You need to know why they're asking, what they're looking for, so you can get there. So can you talk a little bit about the art side, the science side of that, and then when it can kind of go off the rails and go too far?
Well, there's a rule that goes if a prospect asks you the same question twice, just answer it directly.
Yes. Yeah.
So here's the underlying thing we need to remember. This is not trickery. This is not manipulation. This is not a technique. The reason to not necessarily answer a question right away is I need to gather more information so I know better how to answer the question.
Correct.
So for example, if I said, John, how long has PT been in business? You could just come right out and say, do you know how long it's been, by the way?
Since 1992.
So what would that make it?
30 years.
30 years. All right.
30 years.
So you could come right out and say 30 years. And in my mind, there's a problem here, though. In my mind, if I was looking for a company that was newer, younger, thinking outside the box, you will not get that sale.
Nope.
However, if I'm looking for one that's been around a long time, you would get that sale. And the problem is we don't know which way it goes. So when they say, how long have you been in business? You could start by saying, hey, I want to address that and I want to tell you all about that, but help me understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Why are you
what
asking?
matters to you there? Yeah.
Bingo. On the other hand, if I say, John, what time is it? I don't need you to go, well, that's a really good question. What time were you hoping it is? That just makes no sense, right? So, so I'll throw that out. And then let me throw out one other thing. The person who asks the questions controls the conversation.
Yes. And I think that's where it all goes awry for some people, is they hear that and feel that. And so they never want to answer questions. They only want to ask them. And rather than having some back and forth at times, but having 70 to 80% of the time, they're the ones asking the questions. People want to know you're human. They want to know you're not robotic about things. They want to know you're like them.
Yep.
In that regard.
Ask me where I went to high school.
Hey, Dan, where'd you go to college?
Well, where'd you go to college? See, that doesn't fit. And that's what happens on sales calls,
Yes.
And so ask me it again. Where'd you go to college?
Where'd you go to high school, Dan?
Oh, high school? I went to Butler High School, home of the Golden Tornadoes. How about you, John?
Yeah, I went to Wootton, home of the Patriots.
Where is Wootton?
Rockville, Maryland.
And see, now what started to happen is I answered your question, but I asked you another
follow on. Yes.
And now I started to gain the control.
Yep. There we go.
There's the difference. But don't be afraid to answer questions. Just make sure you know what the real question is first.
That's the answer right there.
And now I'll always remember you went to Wootton.
Yes, you will. Home of?
I don't remember that. Listening is one of my traits that I'm working on all the time.
We salespeople struggle with. Yes, we do. All right, everybody. See you again tomorrow.
Have fun.